Good day. The topic you are treating today is factorization of quadratic expression by Monsurat. The objectives of this video are to find the coefficient of terms and also factorize quadratic expressions, so that by the end of the lesson you'll be able to find coefficient of term and also factorize quadratic expressions. The topics you must have known before you can watch this video are: you should know how to multiply numbers, and you should also know how to factorize by grouping like terms, and also know how to find the factors of numbers for both positive and negative numbers. And also you must know the addition and multiplication of algebraic expressions before you can watch this video for easy understanding. Now we move to the first topic, which is coefficient of terms. What is coefficient of terms? The number before a letter in an algebraic expression or equation is called its coefficient. For example, in the expression b squared minus 12b, so b squared minus 12b plus 20. Now, from the definition, they said the number before a letter in an algebraic expression or equation is called its coefficient. So the number before b squared is the coefficient of b squared. The number before b, together with the sign in front of it, is the coefficient of b. And then the number that is free of any variable, that does not have any variable multiplied to it, is the constant term. So now, the coefficient of b squared from here, no, it is only 1 that is multiplying b. It is 1 that is in front of b. If you have a letter like this, it means 1 is preceding it, because 1 multiplied by a number will give that number. That's why they do not bother to write the 1 here. 1 multiplied by b squared will give b squared. That's why they are ordinary b squared. So you can write it as 1b squared minus 12b plus 20. So the coefficient of b squared, that is the number before b squared, is 1. The coefficient of b, you carry it together with the sign in front of it, minus 12. And then the constant term, that is the term that does not have a variable multiplied to it, is what? Plus 20, which is 20. So that is what coefficient is all about. So now we explain the meaning of this coefficients. Now we further explain the meaning of this coefficient using the following examples. Now, the first example is the instruction of the example says we should find the coefficient of x squared, x, and the constant term in each of the following expression. So you find the coefficient of x squared, you find the coefficient of x, and then the constant term in each of these. So for this is the first question, the second question, the third, and then the fourth. So here you have to find the coefficient of x squared, x, and the constant term. And here, for you to find the coefficient of x squared, x, you know that this is like the multiplication of this and this. So the first thing you do is first multiply out, and after then you find the coefficient of x squared, the coefficient of x, and then the constant term. Now we'll move to the solution of this example. The first one is 4x squared minus 5x plus 7. So for you to know the coefficient of x squared, we're told that the coefficient is the number before a letter. So the number before x squared is 4. Therefore, the coefficient of x squared is 4. The number before x is minus 5. Therefore, the coefficient of x is minus 5. And the number that does not have a variable multiplied to it is 7. And that is what the constant term is. The constant term is 7. Now, we move to the second question, which is what? 2x minus 3 multiplied by 3x plus 4. And this is from the instruction given before you proceed to the viewing of this video. You were told that you should know how to multiply algebraic expression. So this is where you're going to use that knowledge, the multiplication of algebraic expression. 2x minus 3 multiplied by 3x plus 4. And if you want to multiply this out, you take the first term in the first bracket, we need to multiply the whole of the second bracket, and then you take the second term in the first bracket, which is minus 3, to multiply the whole of the second bracket. So that 2x multiplied by 3x plus 4 minus 3 multiplied by 3x plus 4. So now you open this bracket. 2x multiplied by 3x, like you have been taught, will give you 6x squared. 2x multiplied by plus 4, you have to multiply the sign. Plus multiplied by plus, plus 2x multiplied by 4 will give you 8x. So now you move to the second bracket. You first leave this sign. You use this number to multiply the whole of the bracket. 3x multiplied by 3 is like 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by x. 3 multiplied by 3 will give you 9. 9 multiplied by x will give you 9x. Then 3 multiplied by 4 will give you positive 12. After then, you can now open the bracket with this negative number. So this is what I'll be saying. The first one, we have 6x squared plus 8x. You leave the sign outside, and then you use the number to multiply the what is in the bracket. So you have 9x plus 12. After then, you open the bracket with the sign. So you have 6x squared plus 8x minus, this is like saying anything in front of a bracket is, if nothing is written in front of a bracket, you assume that it is 1 that is in front of that bracket. So we have minus 1 multiplied by 9x. And anything in front of a bracket means that thing is multiplying whatever is in the bracket. Minus 1 multiplied by 9x minus multiplied by plus will give minus. 1 multiplied by 9x will give 9x. Also, minus 1 multiplied by plus 12 minus multiplied by plus will give minus. 1 multiplied by 12 will give 12. So now we collect like terms. 6x squared. Is there anything with x squared here? No. We write only 6x squared. Plus 8x. Is there anything with x? Yes. We have minus 9x. So you have plus 8x minus 9x. If you evaluate that, you have minus x and then minus 12. Now you have a whole expression. Now you can now find the coefficient of x squared, the coefficient of x, and then the constant term from this. So the coefficient of x squared, as we have in the definition, is the number before x squared, which is 6. The coefficient of x is minus 1, and the coefficient and the constant term, that is the number that is free of a variable, is minus 12. And that solves the second question. Now the third question, 1 plus 4x minus x squared. Here, the coefficient of x squared will give you minus 1. The coefficient of x is 4 and the constant term is 1. I hope that is understood. Minus 1 multiplied by x squared is same thing as writing minus 1 x squared. So when you have to write the coefficient, you just pick out the number that is multiplying it, which is what? Minus 1. Here, 4 is multiplying x. As is 4 is in front of x. 4 is the number before x, which means the coefficient of x is 4, and then the constant term is 1. Now we'll move to the fourth question. The fourth question is 2x minus 1 raised to power 2. If you have x raised to power 2, it means x multiplied by x. If you have 2x, everything in brackets raised to power 2, it means 2x multiplied by 2x. So if you have 2x minus 1 raised to power 2, it means 2x minus 1 multiplied by 2x minus 1. So now I've explained how to multiply algebraic expression. You take the first term in the first bracket to multiply the whole of the second bracket, and then the second term in the first bracket to multiply the whole of the second bracket. So you have 2x multiplied by 2x minus 1 minus 1 multiplied by 2x minus 1. So 2x multiplied by 2x, so 2 multiplied by 2, 4, 4 multiplied by x, 4x, and 4x multiplied by x, we have 4x squared. X multiplied by x will be x squared. X squared multiplied by 4 is 4x squared. 2x minus 1. 2 must, you first multiply the sign. Plus 2x minus 1. Plus multiplied by minus will give minus. 2x multiplied by 1 will give 2x. And we are done with that. Now we move to this. And I told you leave the sign and then you use the number to multiply the bracket. 1 multiplied by 2x. 2x. 1 multiplied by minus 1. You write down your sign, and then 1 multiplied by 1, 1. Now use this sign to open the bracket. Here you already have 4x squared minus 2x. Minus multiplied by plus minus. I told you that if you have nothing in front of the bracket, you assume that it is 1. Minus 1 multiplied by 2x. Minus multiplied by plus minus 1 multiplied by 2x. 2x, minus multiplied by minus plus 1 multiplied by 1. So here you now collect like terms. You look at things that are similar. This and this are similar. Minus 2x will give you minus 4x. So you have 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. Now this will be a classwork to you. You will be the one to identify the coefficient of x squared, the coefficient of x, and then the constant term. And then you send it to me immediately you finish watching this video. You find the coefficient of x squared, the coefficient of x, and the constant term. Now this will be the end of the lesson for coefficient of terms. We now move to factorization of quadratic expression. What is a quadratic expression? How do we factorize quadratic expression? So those will be what will be taught in this particular topic. So a quadratic expression is any expression of the form. So a quadratic expression is any expression of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are arbitrary constants. What they mean by arbitrary constants is that they are not variables like they are written here in normal question. They are numbers. Here it means that a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant term, like you have been taught in coefficients of things. So it is not every time they will represent this with x. They can use any variable. They can use a. But for you to identify a quadratic expression, that variable that is unknown in your quadratic expression will repeat itself in the first and second term, like we have x and x here. And for you to confirm that it's a quadratic expression, that variable that we call the unknown variable will have its highest power to be 2. You know, the power of x here is 2, the power of x here is 1, and 2 is greater than 1. That means the highest power of x in this expression is 2. That means it is quadratic. In your quadratic equation, you have a variable that repeats itself in the first term and the second term, and it will have its highest power to be 2 in that quadratic expression. But this a, b, c will be numbers. That's why they said they are constant. And for it to be a quadratic expression, the power of your unknown variable, which will repeat itself in the first term and second term, will be 2. My explanation again. Your unknown variable will repeat itself in the first and second term. If you have a here and a here, a is your unknown variable, and then for it to be quadratic, the highest power of your unknown variable will be 2. And that's why they said a must not be equal to 0, because if a, which is the coefficient of your unknown variable, which is the coefficient of when your unknown variable has its highest power to be 2, if it is 0, it means the whole of this will vanish, and then it is no more a quadratic expression. You can see that we are left with bx plus c, and the highest power of x is 1, not 2. Because I explained that for you to have a quadratic expression, the highest power of your unknown must be 2. It must not be greater than 2, and it must not be less than 2. The highest power of your unknown must be 2. If the highest power of your unknown is 3, then you have another expression, which is not a quadratic expression. You call that a cubic expression. And if the highest power of your unknown is 1, here the unknown is x. If the highest power of your unknown is 1, you have a linear expression. But if the highest power of your unknown is 2, that is when we have a quadratic expression. I know that is what we are dealing with here. So we have steps to follow when you want to factorize a quadratic expression. The first step is that you find the sum of roots of your expression, which the sum of roots is your middle term. Here your middle term is bx. This is the middle term. And then after you find the sum of roots, you find the product of roots, which is what? The product of the first term, which is ax squared, and the last term, which is c. So we have ac x squared. You know, we are told that your a and c is constant, so you can multiply your constant together and then you write down the variable. After you find the product of the first and last term, which is called the product of the roots, you write out the factors of ac s squared. Then you choose, after then you choose two factors of this, out of the factors of ACS squared you've written, you choose two factors of this ACS squared, so that when you add these two factors together, you have your middle term, which is bx, which is also your sum of the roots. And when you multiply these same two factors together, you have the product of the roots, which is the product of the first and the last term. That is what we have here. If you add the two factors together, you have the middle term bx, which is sum of the roots, and when you multiply this same factors, you have the product of the first and last term, which is what? Product of the roots. I represent those two factors with dx and fx here, since we are generalizing. So now you have two factors, so that when you add them together, you have your middle term, and when you multiply them together, you have your product of the roots, which is the multiplication of the first and last term. Now you split the middle term bx in the expression into these two factors, and you know I represent those factors with dx and fx. So this is your original quadratic expression. You split this middle term bx and write it in form of the addition of dx and fx. So this quadratic expression can then be written as as squared plus dx plus fx plus your middle term, your constant term, which is c. Now you group the like terms in this rewritten expression, and then you factor out the HCF of each of the like terms, and then you factor out the common binomial factor in the expression. Now you should note that letters come before numbers, and always make sure your constants are written together with a sign before them. This is very important. Now we illustrate those given steps using these examples. The first example, a squared plus 9a plus 8. Is this a quadratic equation? Is this a quadratic expression? Yes, because you can see that a repeats itself in the first and second term. It means a is our unknown variable. And what is the highest power of our unknown variable? A. The highest power of our unknown variable a is 2. So that certifies that this is a quadratic expression. Now to find our ABC, like we have in the general quadratic expression, our a is the coefficient of a squared, our b is the coefficient of a, and our c is the constant term. Our a here is 1, our b is 9, and our c is 8. I hope that is understood. For the second question, our unknown is q. Consider q is here, q is a, our unknown is q. And for us to know that this is a quadratic expression, the highest power of q is 2. You can see 1, 2. The highest power of q is 2. That means it's a quadratic expression. And here, the coefficient of q squared is 6. The coefficient of q is 21, and the constant term is 15. So now we move to the solution of this example following the steps given. We have a squared plus 9a plus 8. Now we have to find the sum of roots, which is the middle term. The middle term here is 9a. And we have to have the product of roots, which is the second step, is the product of the first and last term, which is a squared multiplied by 8. So product of roots is a squared multiplied by 8, which equals to 8a squared, which equals to 8a squared. After then, we have to find the factors of 8a squared. So what you just do is you first write down the factors of 8. You know, here we have positive 8, so you write only the positive factors of 8, which are what? 1, 2, 4, and 8. And then you multiply each factor with the unknown variable a, which would now be 1 multiplied by a, 2 multiplied by a, 2a, 4 multiplied by a, 4a, and 8 multiplied by a, 8a. So these are the factors of 8a squared. So you don't look at these factors. You choose two factors such that when you add those factors together, you have 9a. And when you multiply those two factors together, you have 8a squared. And they said out of the above listed factors, we chose a and 8a, because if you see a and 8a, if you add a to 8a, you will have 9a, which is your sum, which is your middle term. And when you multiply a and 8a, you have 8a squared, which is your product. So you have gotten those two factors. The next thing for you is to just place your middle term in terms of those two factors. Therefore, your quadratic expression a squared plus 9a plus a can be written as what? A squared plus a plus 8a, those are the two factors, plus 8. You only change 9a. 8 plus 8a is the same thing as 9a. A plus 8a plus 8. Now, you group the like terms. A squared plus a, you know how to group like terms, you've been taught, plus 8a plus 8. Now, you find the HCF of a square and a. The HCF of a square and a is a. You factorize out a from a, you'll be left with a. You factorize out a from a, you'll be left with 1. Plus, if you find the HCF of 8a and 8, the HCF will be 8. You factorize out 8 from 8a, it's going to be a. Plus, if you factorize out 8 from here, you're left with 1. You can see that you have a plus 1 here, a plus 1 here. So what you have left in the brackets must always be the same. Now you take your common factors here, a, and here plus 8. That's how you have a plus 8. And then you take one of this binomial factors, which is a plus 1. So if you multiply a plus 8 multiplied by a plus 1, you should have a squared plus 9a plus 8. So that's factorization. Also, you can group your like terms in another way. You can choose the first and the third, and then the second and the fourth. If you choose that, what you just do is to find the HCF of a squared and 8a. And the HCF of a squared and 8a is a. You factorize out a from here, you'll be left with a. You factorize out a from here, you'll be left with 8. And then you can see that this does not have a common factor. So this is like plus 1 multiplied by the whole of this. So 1 is the common factor. 1 multiplied by a, 1 multiplied by plus 8. So now you now write the common factors, a plus 1 and then a plus 8. Choose one of these since they are the same. If they are not the same, you have to check your workings. A plus 8. So a plus 8 multiplied by a plus 1 is the same thing as saying a plus 1 multiplied by a plus 8, because 4 multiplied by 2 is the same thing as saying 2 multiplied by 4. And that's that. So now move to the second question. So this should look simpler since we've explained the first question. 6q squared plus 21q plus 15. From here, q is the unknown. Like I've explained, the highest power of q is 2, which shows that this is a quadratic expression. And then the coefficient of q squared is 6, the coefficient of q is 21, and the constant term is 15. Now, from the steps you take to factorize a quadratic expression, you find the sum of roots. The sum of roots is your middle term. Here it is plus 21q. The product of roots is the product of the first and last term, which is 6q squared multiplied by 15, which is 90q squared. After that, you write down the factors of 90q squared. Like I explained, you first write down the factors of 90, which are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 15, 18, 30, 45, and 90 itself. And then you multiply each of those factors by your unknown variable, which is q. So 1 multiplied by q is q, 2 multiplied by q, 2q, 3 multiplied by q, 3q, 5 multiplied by q, 5q, up to the last term, which is 90 multiplied by q, 90q. So these are the factors of 90q squared. So now we choose two factors out of all these factors, such that if you add those two factors together, you will have 21q, and if you multiply those two factors together, you have 90q squared. So if you look at these factors critically, 15q and 6q are the factors such that when you add them together, you have 21q, and when you multiply them together, you have 90q squared. So they said, out of the above listed factors, we choose 15q and 6q because 15q plus 6q will give you 21q, and that is the sum. And 15q multiplied by 6q will give you 90q squared. That is the product. So now write your middle term 21q in terms of 15q and 6q. So you rewrite 6q squared plus 21q plus 15 as what? 6q squared plus 15q plus 6q, or you write plus 6q plus 15q plus 15. So you group your like terms. You can group this and this, then you group this and this. So you find the HCF of 6q square and 6q. The HCF of 6q square and 6q will be 6q. If you factorize out 6q from here, you'll be left with q. If you factorize out 6q from here, you'll be left with 1. So this sign plus. The HCF of 15q and 15 is 15. If you factorize out 15 from here, you have q. If you factorize out 15 from here, you have 1. You can see that you have the same thing in the bracket. So after that, you take your common factors, 6q plus 15, and then you take one of the binomial factor, which is what? Q plus 1. And that solves the second question. Now we move to the third question, which is what? X squared minus 12x minus 28. So here we can see that we have negative signs here, so you have to listen attentively. This is another aspect of factorization of quadratic expression which you must be very careful about. So sum of roots, you still follow the same step. The sum of roots is minus 12x, which is your middle term. I told you you should always carry it along with its sign, minus 12x. And then your product of roots is what? The product of the first term and the last term, which is s squared multiplied by minus 28. So s squared multiplied by minus 28 plus multiplied by minus will give minus 28 multiplied by s squared will give 28s squared. So now you find the factors of minus 28s squared. You know, in the previous question we used to have only positive numbers. Here you have negative numbers. So if you want to write down the factors of minus 28s squared, we write down both the positive factors and the negative factors. So the factors of minus 28s squared will be what? Is that plus 1 or minus 1? Is that plus 2 or minus 2? So you have plus 1, minus 1, plus 2, minus 2, plus 4, minus 4, plus 7, minus 7, plus 14, minus 14, and plus 28, minus 28. And I told you, after you've written down the factors of minus 28, you only multiply each factor by your unknown variable, which is what? X. So that's why we have plus x. Plus 1 multiplied by x is plus x. Minus 1 multiplied by x is minus x. Plus 2x multiplied by x is plus 2x. Minus 2 multiplied by x is minus 2x, and so on. So that's why we have plus x, minus x. I don't want it to be long, that's why I write plus or minus x. This means plus or minus x, which means plus x, minus x, plus 2x, minus 2x, plus 4x, minus 4x, plus 7x, minus 7x, plus 14x, minus 14x, and plus 28x, minus 28x. So those are the 12 factors you have in whole. So out of these factors, you choose 2 factors so that when you add those 2 factors together, you have minus 12x. And when you multiply those 2 factors together, you have minus 28x squared. So when you look critically at these factors, you choose minus 14x and 2x, because minus 14x plus 2x will give minus 12x, and minus 14x multiplied by 2x will give what? Minus 28x squared, because minus multiplied by plus, minus 14 multiplied by 2, 28, and x multiplied by x raised to power 2. So we have seen those factors which are minus 14x and 2x. That's when you add them together, you have minus 12x, which is the sum of the roots, which is the middle term, and when you multiply them together, you have minus 28x squared, which is the product of the first and last term, which is the product of the root. So after you've found these 2 factors, you replace your middle term with these 2 factors. Your middle term is minus 12x, so you replace it with what? Minus 14x plus 2x. So you rewrite your quadratic expression as x squared minus 14x plus 2x minus 28, and after then you group the like terms. You take the first and second, you look at it critically, and then you group the like terms. So for me, I took the first and second, and then the third and fourth. So now I'll find the HCF of x squared and 14x. The HCF of x squared and 14x is x. If you factorize out x from here, you'll be left with x. You write down your sign. You factorize out x from here, you'll be left with 14. And here, the second like term, 2x and 28. What is the HCF of 2x and 28? The HCF of 2x and 28 is 2. You factorize out 2 from here, you'll be left with s. You write down your sign minus. If you factorize out 2 from here, you'll be left with 14. You can see that I have the same thing in the bracket, x minus 14, x minus 14. So I'll write down my common factors, x and what plus 2. I write that down in the bracket and then multiply by one of this, which is x minus 14. And that solves the third question. Now we move to the fourth question, which is 4u squared minus 11u minus 3. So now you know how to find the sum of roots, the middle term, carry it along with the sign, and then the product of roots is the product of the first and last term, which is 4u squared minus 3, which will give minus 12u squared. Since you have a negative in the product of roots, you consider the positive and negative side of your factors. So what are the factors of 12? Factors of 12 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So you consider both the positive side of the factor and then the negative side. So you consider plus 1, minus 1, plus 2, minus 2, plus 3, minus 3, plus 4, minus 4, plus 6, minus 6, and plus 12, minus 12. And then I told you that for you to have a complete factor, you just take your unknown, which is u here, use it to multiply each of the factors. So plus 1 multiplied by u, you have plus u. Minus 1 multiplied by u, you have minus u. Plus 2 multiplied by u, you have positive 2u. Minus 2 multiplied by u, you have negative 2u, and so on. That's just the simplest way of getting your factor. So out of these factors you have, these factors are also 12 in number because you have plus u, minus u, plus 2u, minus 2u, plus 3u, minus 3u, plus 4u, minus 4u, plus 5u, plus 6u, minus 6u, plus 12u, minus 12u. So out of the above listed factor, we choose minus 12u and u, because if you add minus 12u to u, you have minus 11u, and if you multiply minus 12u and u, you have minus 12u squared. So now you write the middle term in terms of these two factors. So we have 4u squared minus 12u plus u minus 3. Now you group your like terms, which is 4u squared minus 12u plus u minus 3. If you find the HCF of 4u squared and minus 12u, that will be 4u. You factorize out 4u from here, you'll be left with u, minus, you factorize out 12u from here, 4u from here, you'll be left with 3, plus, this doesn't have a common factor, so I told you that you just write 1. So you write out your common factors, 4u plus 1, and then you choose one of the binomial factors, u minus 3. And that solves the fourth question. So the fifth question will be a classwork which you must submit to me immediately after you finish watching the video. So next video will be more on factorization of quadratic expression. Thank you.